couldn't think of Streamlabs.
You just double click it, then it will say some message that pops up. You need to say no, not yes. And go live.
I couldn't think of Streamlabs. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for getting it ready.
Hello.
How are you doing? Doing all right yourself? There we go over there.
One of those days.
Life is good. And it gets better.
Well,
We should not laugh about that. Because we had an instance.
now that we get my email. The reality is, whatever you can see us.
We'll get fired.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Morgan County Council July 6th meeting. If you'll all stand, Paul Prather will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Vicki will follow in prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you on this day, in this troubled time in which we're living. We just ask for your peace, your guidance, your comfort, your guidance. We just ask for safety for those who are out there working the trenches. We ask for safety for those who are enduring hard times and need peace and direction. We just pray that you be with us as leaders of this wonderful community and guide us, give us guidance. Give us peace within our community. Be with those who serve and watch over us. And all these things we pray in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Hopefully everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from the joint meeting that we had with the commissioners. Did everybody have an opportunity to read those? And if so, I'll look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Vicki Kivett seconds.
No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions or voting nays, same sign? None. Motion passes. Thank you.
I do have a question about that report. Is there one copy of that printed out anywhere?
One copy of the,
600 and some pages?
did we have a printed copy of the 690? I think it was 693 if I recall. A hard
Is
copy.
there a hard copy at all? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? First on tonight's agenda, Sheriff.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
Everybody doing all right? Good, good. I'll come before you tonight, well, I'm doing easy one. You see the 3,500 there that I'm asking for, and then I'm gonna get Brent the 104,000, so. Anyways, you'll be getting your other people the big numbers. Well, what we're asking for is an additional appropriation, 3,500 for the chaplain program. When this was enacted by the Council of Commissioners Office for the chaplain program, it's George Watson for us, the 911 Center, EMA, and Coroner's Office. This was not in our budget at that time to appropriate that money, so we're going to be a little short this year. The $3,500 will get us through the next year. We have appropriated that for the next year for that program, but we would like to ask to appropriate that money to fulfill or do this part of his payment for the chaplain program this year.
We have a presentation from our sheriff asking for support of the chaplain services.
I'll make a quick comment. Just yesterday, there was a fatal accident on my street, which is out in the middle of nowhere, and wouldn't you know it, there was George.
And he has been utilized a lot more than you guys probably ever know about, not only calls like that, but suicides, overdoses, that kind of thing. And every time we call him, he's where I need to be. So very, very much an asset to this program, to us, 911, EMA, and the coroner's office. And I know he also makes calls, not dealing with that with employees and things of assistance when they need family type assistance and that type of thing. So yeah, it's a very great program.
I make a motion that we grant the $3,500 to the 1,105-4315.20 for the chaplain services as requested.
Have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dave seconds. Any further discussion? There being none, I call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you, everybody. If you could keep that same thing up on this next one, I'd appreciate it.
Probably not good.
Good evening, and thank you, Sheriff, thank you, Council. I come to you tonight to ask for an appropriation of $190. This is money that was encumbered last year. We used to pay for, we ordered 6 Dodge Chargers through Community Board, Chrysler and Bloomington. These Chargers were canceled by Dodge. The money was encumbered on from last year's money. This money was paid to Ford for the vehicles, and we received the money back just a couple weeks ago, I think, right, Dan? We're in unprecedented times with vehicle manufacturing right now. The Dodge is the Dodge Charger is no longer as far as the D8 Hemi. So for county applications, that's not going to be a good vehicle for us. We're using the Ford Interceptor, the SUVs that you've seen. Those do cost a little bit more money, but we intend to get more lifetime out of those vehicles. We're typically on about a 3-year rotation on all of our vehicles except for the SUVs, which go 3.5 to 4 years. So we have placed orders for the Fords. We do have some money in budget to pay for vehicles, but this is money that we used to spend for vehicles already from last year's budget. So the only thing I'm essentially asking for is the money that we've already spent from last year's budget. We're just asking for it to be put back in patrol vehicles so we can't use it for vehicles now. We have, I think, 6 SUVs ordered now. I haven't ordered anything else until I'm certain that this money will go back. Ford is starting to manufacture vehicles again. We always order in around October and November vehicles so we can have them earlier in the year. And we still don't have, I think we received 1 pickup truck from Dodge this year, but that's all we've received so far. So we're really stretching our vehicle usage this year, and we will probably through the year, and hopefully we can get all these vehicles in by the end of the year so we're not encumbering next year.
So in essence, you're not purchasing any additional vehicles of what you would have, of what we budgeted, you're just, the time of which you're ordering
Right.
has changed.
Yeah, last year we budgeted, the budget amount was $270,000 for vehicles. The prior year, that was $325,000. We did add 2 deputies, which has taken 2 more vehicles out of our excess fleet right now. So we hadn't accounted for that last year, or this year. So we will be buying a couple more vehicles than we typically buy, but rightfully so, that we need to. This coming year, we've asked for a little more, I think, to account for those vehicles in the future.
What's the cost difference between the Charger and the Ford?
The Chargers, we've been able to get between 27,000 and 28,000. The Fords are about 33,000, and that's prior to outfitting. We have been using a number in the past, and have been using that for several years, about 30,000 per vehicle. To outfit the vehicle costs about $1,600, and then the equipment's probably another, I budget about $2,000, $2,400, depending on the vehicle, for replacement equipment, so.
Any other questions? For a motion?
I make a motion that we approve $104,190 for patrollers.
Kelly, I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda.
County Commissioners.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you. Commissioners passed a additional letter for you all this morning in the amount of $145,000. The intent of that is that they would like to buy down the lease to the original amount that they had hoped to keep it at the start of this. The original lease is for $80,000 per year. It's $7,500 per month. Anything over the estimated budget at the start, which gets us to $900,000. Anything over that at the end, we can either pay additional lease monies, or we can buy the cost back down to keep it to the original. The commissioners voted today that they would like to buy that back down to the original. And so this probably won't be the final amount, but this is where they've started, while we figure out what the final costs are going to be as that building's getting wrapped up.
How close is it?
Right now, I know we're already $23,000 over that.
How close are we to moving in?
That is a $1 million question. We're supposed to be shooting for the beginning of this coming month. Yeah, literally, I know. I was wondering if you were catching that. We were supposed to be shooting for the start of this month, and I'm still holding out that that is true. I have asked clarification from the builder, because, you know, as you all know, our courts have to reschedule. And so if they're going to slide, which I'm somewhat fearful they're going to, then I need to know as soon as possible. We were really shooting for August 1st.
Is this just unprojected cost, or what makes up this amount?
Yeah, so as you probably all know, at the beginning of this, we entered into agreement with Artesian Group to remodel that building. It was based on an estimate, and so they've been figuring that out as they went. And so it was everybody's best guess moving forward what the final build-out cost was going to be.
Speaking of this, I thought Steve mentioned something about this. Was there some design changes that had to happen because we kind of realized with COVID-19 in the middle of this project that we had to be thinking about changing some things, or was that just a miscommunication?
No, because it was an atypical project, the fact that they were building to suit our needs, they've been working, the commissioners and Artesian Group along the way to build it out. There wasn't a traditional predefined set of plans at the start of this. And so they said, here's our starting budget, and let's meet the needs along the way. So that's what they've been doing throughout.
Any additional questions?
And I guess I would reiterate, just so you all know, we will pay for it one way or another, whether we buy it now or pay for it at least is really what you want for it.
We've been funding this project out of county QCAP. Right. They've advertised it a couple ways. Whispering to Dan over here, it'd probably be easier if we keep it, and I'm in agreement, that's why I asked you within the QCAP, so we're not jumping in front of seeing all the money that's in and out. Just be my recommendation, I can't make a motion.
If there's no questions, I will make that motion that we approve of $145,000 from the County QCAP Development Fund, 1138-133-4339.00 real estate lease.
We have a motion on the floor, do I have a second?
Kim Meredith will second.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. You can ask. But I thought since you also went through a conversation with her that you'd have to explain that, it would only behoove you to jump to the real estate transfer towards the bottom.
Yeah, if you go to the bottom of the agenda, you'll see Q Capital Development and Transfer Commissioners Department and Q Capital, $100,000 from the line item 4406 real estate to the line item 4339 real estate lease. This here particular lease is an operating lease, it's not a capital purchase lease. There is an option to purchase at the end of the lease, but the lease payments that we're making along the way aren't going towards buying down that purchase. So it's actually a lease. So this should be more properly accounted for under 4339 real estate lease as opposed to real estate purchase. That's the reason for that transfer. Because it's in your 2020 budget under the 4406. You really need to be in along the line with 4339.
Bookkeeping purposes.
Well, for bookkeeping purposes, I make a motion that we transfer $100,000 from 1138-133-4406 real estate to 1188-133-4339 real estate lease.
I have a motion on the floor, do I have a second? Brian Collier seconds. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Dan. Are you going to present the copiers?
Yep. So as you all know, we elected to purchase our copiers instead of leasing them. You appropriate $100,000. It's my understanding, again, back to sort of bookkeeping, we need to transfer the money we initially laid out for a lease into the line item that we have to purchase them.
Look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the transfer from 4318 to 4446 copiers of $41,406.
Have a motion on the floor, do I have a second?
Kim Meredith will second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Copiers passed 7-0.
Thank you, everyone.
Local road and street fund.
Good evening, council members.
Phoebe.
Okay, so this is for a bag trailer. First off, let me talk about the need for the bag trailer. A bag trailer does two essential things. One, it cleans and helps maintain culverts and structures underneath the road. And two, it helps do utility location, where it can actually do like what they call potholing, where there's a 2-inch hole in dirt in the ground, and you can actually suck through things and actually locate things underground without doing heavy excavation and or extraction. It is a valuable tool for any county highway. What has been previously used by the county is a fire truck that has been on loan from the town of Paragon from 1974. The pump finally went out on it earlier this year. This greatly affects drainage and greatly affects road conditions in several areas. So it is a needed item. This is coming up now because of the budget process. We have been going out and getting quotes. We got quotes for a back trailer for next year's budget for $70,000. We then got a call back saying, hey, I've got one for you, this year's model, for a significant discount, which is $45,000. $45,816. We took it to the commissioners, they did approve us going to the council for it. The reason I do want to give the explanation is because this is money that is coming from the stone that we moved from LRS to MVH last time we were here. And so there's $135,000 in the stone account that we got a new appropriation for in MVH last time. So from this $135,000, I would like to spend $45,816 for this vehicle purchase for this year at a significant discount as opposed to doing it next year.
Any questions?
It's a good deal.
Very.
Look for a motion.
So moved. Vicky Kivett.
Vicky makes a motion to move from stone to equipment lease. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Kelly has a second. No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes
I do have
7-0.
one. What happens to that fire truck?
They towed it back to Paragon. I think they may use it for
Okay.
something.
Just want to make sure you stay.
Playground equipment.
It is no longer on the highway department grounds, and they just took it out, I think, in April or May.
How's your cleanup going up there by Berkeley, where the road was given in?
On Tidewater, right there, actually, it went pretty well. We did some excavation over there. Actually, that would have been great there, to do some of that excavation there in the road and the potholing. But we did some excavation on the side. It's garbage underneath there. Yeah, it's gonna be all done, walls are gonna come through, they're gonna pave it. I wanna say end of this week, if not early next week. So it should be paved and done. And then we're gonna monitor how it goes the next couple of years, and if we need to do anything else. But essentially what had happened was, there was erosion on the far bank. There's kind of a nice little island that is created there for riprap, whether it was placed there by Vectron when they did the work for that pipeline or by others. And it has created some eddies, which has taken away some of the earth embankment along the west side of the creek there. And that is contributing to some of that base giving out. So we went back through, we tore it up, we took out about 24 inches, redid all the base underneath the road, got all new good base. We got a mat in there that will hopefully wick away some of that moisture underneath there that could be causing a lot of that issue. And then we're going to have Wallace come in and do the final HMA overlay here in the near, like I said, the very near future.
Thank you.
reassessment fund.
All right, so you have in front of you a request, I would call it a redeployment of assets. So we have some money sitting in a couple of part-time accounts, and as you all know, with COVID, added another layer of complexity to our visiting our 12,000 parcels that we're supposed to visit each year. We sort of decided to redeploy some of those folks. They're sitting in the office, they're reviewing aerials, they're measuring things from what was 2018's aerials. So these funds, and what I'm proposing is that we move forward with an annual flight pattern. Lots of counties, Johnson County's flying annually now, Marion County's flying annually now. And really, instead of our folks going out and knocking on 12,000 doors, each year we will do the majority of our reassessment checks from the office. I think it's gonna be safer for our folks from, the fact that dog bites and people not wanting us on their property, to obviously people not wanting us there in the midst of a pandemic. So what I had asked the council, or the commissioners this morning for, we have done flights every other year. So 2018 was our last flight, and I would like to move forward with an actual annual contract. So I would use these funds to move into that contractual services account, to go ahead and pay for the first year so that we would get aerials on or around 1/1/21. That way we'll have a good picture of what's sitting on most folks' properties as of our assessment date. So that's kind of the direction I think most counties are starting to move. Unfortunately, I think in the time that we're in, it's becoming more and more dangerous for us to get out and about. So that's the gist of the request tonight.
You're doing away totally then, if we do this, with the people knocking on doors?
So what we have done over the last 6 weeks, we have used aerials, and we get lucky in some instances. We are actually doing Brown and Mooresville this year. Since Marion County flies, and if what I call overspray, so if our contractor's up in the air and they are flying in a pattern and they get into our territory, they give us access to that imagery. It's not on Elevate, but it is on our pictometry. So our folks have been going out, they've been looking at that from their desks, and then if there's something that they really can't see from the air, or the house just looks completely not like what we have, the drawing, the sketch, we've sent those folks a letter and said, we'd like to come out between this date and this date. You can call us, we'll schedule it, or just expect to see us during this time. So we have visited in that area probably about 100 homes. So no, we're not completely, we'll never completely get away. And we obviously have to go get new construction, which there is a lot of still that we have to go pick up. So all the new houses will have to go and get photos and completely measure. But it will cut down on the number of knocks that we're making on doors.
And as we grow, you would have less that you would have to do that within the cost of that as well. I think it's a great idea.
I see this technology saving us money in the long run. We're more efficient. We obviously aren't losing rain days. We're not having travel time. So our folks are more efficient at what they can do. And even when you visit a home, you're not always going to get everything 100% accurate. You might have a dog chasing you. You might have an angry homeowner. So I just think it's just using the tool in a different way.
So this contract is for 6 years, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, whereas we look at this reassessment, field personnel, part-time data entry, we're looking, that's a year's salary for those two part-time line items, which is definitely good. The question I have is, does this mean that you, in the assessor's office, will have to have less personnel in the assessor's office? Or are you looking at needing to, basically what I'd hate to see happen is come back in another meeting, oh, we're so busy, I need this extra personnel. that we've just taken the money for to pay for this contract?
I think if you look back over the last few years, these two particular line items, most of this money we've given you back. In these two part-time line items, and I decreased them last year, from what was in there the year before. But to answer your question, I could see us becoming much more efficient.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I don't want to commit to that.
Of course, no. In my mind, I'm just asking the question, you answered it, that is, are we looking at truly being able to use more technology and not having to hire more personnel, and that's what it's about. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Being none, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve $20,000 from the 4114 reassessment field personnel and $25,000 from the 4115 part-time data entry, and transfer that to the 4361 contractual services.
Motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Vicky Kivett makes that second.
Any further discussion or questions? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7. Thank you. Time to discuss the weights and measures position. Are you leading that discussion?
Yes, sir. It's my understanding, talking with you all, that this may not be a new topic. That's one you guys have addressed before, and maybe we're headed this direction anyways. But you're aware that our weights and measures employee has recently resigned. I called the state director, wanted to notify them because they are our employee, but we can't hire or fire up anyone without the state's permission. That's the way state code reads. So you have a copy of state code in your packet, as well as a letter from the director of the weights and measures for the state. So I was just inquiring, hey, how many counties have a part-time versus full-time, so we know how competitive we're going to be. And he said, well, you're actually not permitted to have a part-time if you have a county of more than 3,000 people, which we do. I asked him to put that on his letterhead to make it really clear that that was the state's position. And so my question to you all is, even though it's mid-year, can we pull our posting for a part-time position and repost it to be in compliance with state code?
I think you answered your question. I don't know if we have a choice. The question really is the salary is the choice, yeah.
And if we're going to do that, one of the things that we need to start looking at is how do we keep it in check? We can post it for the same hourly rate we have right now, but obviously it has implications for FICA and things like that. But moving forward into next year, do we do it? Do you guys want to do it at 35 to keep budget numbers lower? Do you want to do a full 40? I think those are discussions that need to be had, but the first step is a full-time employee for the rest of this year.
I think that's it's a serious discussion. I think we do need to have it. I don't know if we have time to have that just answer today. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would advertise to us the 40 big. We can always bring it back down easier than it is to take it up. And then two, as far as I think we have to take it full-time right now, we'll have to come in through the general fund or some other funding mechanism for the remainder of the 6 months to be in compliance with code.
Choice.
You're right, there's the question, are we non-compliant in any other areas that we weren't aware of, as far as?
And if we are, don't ask. Don't vote me.
Well, that might be a question to Doreen, that we may need to check into that to make sure we're.
We wouldn't know necessarily. We didn't know. We literally had a discussion about this.
And we were
at our budget session.
Yeah, we were so close to going there, and really, and I told Josh in the conversation that we had a week or so ago, I think we were going in that direction anyway.
Yeah. Does that need to be in the form of a motion, or?
Yeah, because it's an adjustment to the salary, so yes.
Do you have open recommendations to Doreen what the salary range should be?
Well, so, I mean, right now, it's currently an hourly rate of $18.44. job classification study has the rate for that level of position at $21.85. I have, for the budget for next year, I started putting that together. I have posted or done the numbers at $21.85 to be in line with the job classification study. But she said, we can always bring that down later, but that's how I filled it out for now.
Also change it because of benefits and.
Yeah, the benefits, if I used the $21.85 number, it was roughly $4,400 for perf, roughly $3,000 for FICA. With insurance costs, that's roughly $21,000 for the county portion. So it's not insignificant.
This is a motion that I think needs to be made is a motion to, change this from part-time to full-time position and to, set the hours per week. Because you look at, that would be a motion to amend the salary ordinance.
Not necessarily change the hourly rate at this point.
How long will the hiring process take?
At a minimum, I think we've got to make it full-time, and we have to set the hours per week. You can do anything above, then.
I think going forward, anytime we do full-time, we do 40 hours.
I agree, that's what I just
I
said.
do not understand the full-time 35.
But if we don't set an hourly rate, is that gonna be detrimental to getting qualified candidates if we're too low?
Yeah, that is certainly a risk. I will tell you, we have had, because it is posted now, we have had a few people inquire, but they seem to only be interested at a full-time level, not a part-time level. So, but Vicki, I've heard from the state director, sometimes these positions can be tough to fill, just by nature of the work that it's maybe unglamorous sometimes, and there's a lot of training. The person who takes this role will not get started right away. They have to go through quite a bit of training from the state. And we have to get approval from the state before we can formally hire them. They will give them a test, they will make sure that they have the aptitude to do the position.
Is there an opportunity to bring back the person that left because it wasn't full-time?
We don't know.
I didn't know if that was an option to offer. I mean, they're trained.
Certainly could be, and I will just say also, because we were supposed to have a ride-along, so I can start to better understand the details of the position. But I talked with the state director, there's quite a bit of nuance and complication that we haven't done over the years, and we probably have some ground to make up to better provide for our people. And so I think over time, we'll probably see some benefits of that.
Do you have any issues in the interim for many months, maybe without an employee, that things are getting checked, we might?
Yes.
Are we liable? I mean,
If somebody calls to complain of something, say gas in their water, or water in their gas, we will call the state. The state will schedule someone to come investigate a complaint. They're going to go other and it's being checked until then.
I know, in my opinion, it's just mine, I do want us to look at the salary ordinance, I just don't want to feel rushed into changing the salary. I feel, and I'm not calling for motion, I'm just more discussion point, I feel that moving it to full-time and setting it 40 hours, definitely, I have no question about that. I just would like a little more time to think about this and figure out, is now the time to change that salary, or is it at budget time, since we're right around the corner for budget?
My concern is, hiring somebody that you have to train from the ground up versus someone that might come through for us that already has the certifications and some experience under the belt, that maybe there needs to be a little salary difference there.
Yeah, I was saying that in year one, it makes sense. They have to learn those things.
Like we did with our EMS director, we had that hiring range due to experience.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying give some versatility if you find somebody that were already qualified.
Where they're not gonna use the first 6 months of employment going through the state certification program and all.
I'm open. Dan, do you know, for an hourly rate, can we give a range that we can with the salary?
Yeah. Then once you have a successful candidate, then you set the action.
And it sounds like you all are okay once this is posted. I think we will have to go through and update salary ordinance at the next meeting, to reflect the hours and whatever rate we're looking at, but it's okay to go ahead and post it, is what I'm understanding.
So you're gonna post it and you're gonna accept, resumes for how long, 30 days or so?
Typically we do 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but we can do it longer. I think it just depends. I mean, we may find in this position we have to post it longer, just.
Give them candidates.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. And then we're gonna get budget time.
Someone like to make a motion?
I would make that motion that we advertise for a full-time position, 40-hour week, with a salary range from $18 to $22 an hour.
Kim Meredith will second that motion.
Motion and a second on the floor to change the position of weights and measures from part-time to full-time, 40 hours a week, with a salary range between $18 and $22 an hour. I have a question. Who's going to determine the 18 to 22?
That's my next question.
Who'll
Because
conduct the interviews?
commissioners, who does that person?
I mean, we'd have to have a matrix. That's what we did with the EMS.
Josh, that's something you can give to us, some kind of matrix, I mean, is it even our decision? I mean, honestly, that's really more their decision.
Yeah, we just give them the money.
I think we can certainly, figure out how to do that. It'll just be an education process, not, at the moment, we don't know a whole lot about the position.
But ultimately, that person answers to you, correct? And then you answer to the commissioners, so I would say that decision is between you and the commissioners. You know, we're just setting a salary range, I agree with Councilman Gibbon here. So how do you determine, is up to you.
This is similar to, or could be similar to, what you did for Josh and Doreen's positions, where you had, prior to finding a successful candidate, you set a range, that an acceptable range, and then you had the commissioners then go through the process of selecting someone, and then they came back after finding a candidate and made a case that where they
Argued the rate.
Yeah, I think that's a great range.
That was annualized and this is hourly.
that in
I like it.
And in the salary ordinance, you had that range,
Exactly.
which, I mean, I can have an ordinance here for you to sign tonight,
It just gives you some leeway in the hiring process, I think.
if you want.
I like that.
We have a motion and a second. I believe everyone got the question answered and comfortable. Any other questions or discussion? I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Josh. Next on the agenda is issue 2021 budget calendar discussion.
So, what I put in front of you this evening is, copies of the current, council schedule to remind you of what we have now set for the meetings coming up in August, September regarding the budget. And I put before you the, what the budget review schedule was for last year. And then I've also put there what your, budget assignments were for this year's budget, last year for this year's budget. These are all for discussion purposes for you to either decide whether you want to rotate the,
Throw them in a basket and take them out.
yeah, if you want to rotate those budget assignments, or if you want to leave them as they are. If you want to use, basically, if you want to use the same schedule with the intervals that we had last year on the 2 days of the budget review.
I've always liked the rotating, we all get different opportunities, know different groups.
And you decide, let me know whether or not you want, any additional days added to the calendar, for workshop. Right now, we have the budget review with the, elected officials and department supervisors for August 17th and 18th. In that that's what this budget review schedule is for these departments. Actual budget workshop where you all crunch the numbers and come up with the proposed budget for next year. Those are on the date scheduled right now for August 24th and 5th, and if need be, August 27th. The idea there was, we had some confusion in the past, is if you get through those first 2 days, August the 24th and 5th, with crunching the numbers and with what you want to budget to be, and then you would go away, break away for a day, and that would give me a day to actually run the numbers and get the final amounts. Then we come back in on that Thursday and review what Deb and I understood you as being what you decided, and you can look and make sure this looks right, or if you want to change it. That's the idea of those 3 days, but that's how it stands right now. It's not set in stone, but if we're going to change it, this is what's went to the media. We have to make sure we get that to them a few days in advance.
I'm good with it.
Everybody good with the dates as presented?
Yes.
And I do want to point out, this has nothing to do with the budget, well, it sort of does. The next meeting is going to be August the 11th. It is the first Monday in August, 3rd. It'll be August the 11th. I think the 3rd is the first Monday. Whatever the first Monday is, it's not going to be the first Monday in August. There was 2 reasons for that. One is anticipation that we might have a fair that we're not going to have, and that gives everyone an opportunity to fair. The other reason that's for me is that there's a requirement in state statute that on the first meeting in August that you review the budget limitations of all the various taxing units, and you make your recommendations on those. Well, the Department of Local Government Finance won't release those until the Friday before that Monday. That would have made it impossible for me to have it ready for you on that Monday. So that's the reason it's August 11th.
It's the Tuesday.
Is that a Tuesday?
It is.
I think we had a scheduling conflict with the room.
Tuesday the night that the county fair board meets.
Is it?
We're not meeting? I asked that today.
But anyway, that's what, so I just need feedback. It doesn't necessarily have to be tonight, but if it is, that's that much better. What you want to do.
You want to show of hands?
Good.
Everybody good?
Do you want to do a rotation? Do you want it to be clockwise, counterclockwise? Whatever floats your boat. Okay.
Rich, did you hear that about the county fair meetings?
Did I hear about it yet?
Yeah, we're not meeting till September.
I did not hear.
Okay.
It's been brought to my attention that there's a yellow Volkswagen out in the parking lot, and it's raining and the windows are down. It would probably be Ann and others, but I'm not supposed to know what you people drive. I just know she knows. It's not bright.
So I will rotate these budget assignments, and I will update the budget review schedule with the proper dates and sets and so forth, and get that out to you the next day or 2.
So you clockwise and or counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise.
Okay. So I go up to Kim, Kim goes to Vicky, Vicky goes to Daniel, Daniel goes to Paul, Paul goes to David, David goes to Kelly, Kelly goes to Brian. Now we know we can start our process.
Okay, so this is gonna be Paul, then, where Daniel was. That made it easy for you, Dan.
No.
I just always wondered if you guys even pay attention to anything I say. So finally, somebody did.
Just tell us now.
Yeah.
That makes it easier. We want to go home and start calling.
Okay,
And you can't just.
Daniel will go to Paul,
No, we
Paul will
know.
go to David, David will go to Kelly, Vicky will go to Kim, Kim will go to Brian, and Brian will go to Dean. Kelly goes to Vicky.
Okay.
I would go very much.
Daniel, you're going to Kelly.
I just had these guys.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
We'll be sure to send out an email where you're going. And a map.
All right, that's.
We'll put it on Google Maps.
There we go. Is there any other business to come in front of the board? Anything from the public? Anything from the board? There being none, I call for a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Where did Dave go? You know anything? Dave. Where did Dave go?
Becky and Marshall. I think those two. If you get too much input. Yep. As much information as they want. You know why? Yeah. Did you see my budget?
The part-time to full-time.
Okay. I told them. We want to go through that. Go through that one a little bit more.